What do you get when you take a camera company that makes dash cameras and action cameras and they want to make a web camera? Well, you get the P800 from Viofo. And we're going to take a look to see if this camera is any good for streaming and content creation. Let's go. What is up, all you awesome streamers and content creators? Wild4Games here to make sure your content becomes bigger and better. If this is your first time here, you need help with how-tos, tips and tricks, or even product reviews like in this video right here, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button down below and tick that bell so you know when my videos go live for you. And like we said, we're going to be taking a look at the P800 web camera here to see if it's going to be a good web camera for streaming and content creation. So let's start out with the specs. The P800 is a 1080p at 30 frames per second, 2 megapixel CMOS censored web camera. Has a 360 degree camera rotation that also offers a tilt feature. The viewing angle of the P800 is around 90 degrees, has stereo audio with dual mics, one privacy cover, and it is a plug and play unit that works on both Windows and Mac and comes in right around $50 USD on Amazon. Now that we got the specs out of the way, how does it look and sound? Well, let's take a look at the good and the bad and switch over to the camera. And here you go. This is how I look on the P800. And as you can see, looks pretty mediocre. I would say even below average. One of the first things I notice about this camera that's bad, in fact, let's start with all the bad things, is the image quality isn't that great. It's got a very short dynamic range, which means blacks and whites go up very quickly, which means you're gonna get blown out spots in your face or get very easy specular highlights. And to correct this, which you can, by the way, you can go into OBS or Slobs or any broadcasting software and slide down your contrast, but that means you're making your image more milky. Not a good thing in my book, because I like nice, rich tones. Another bad thing about this camera is the color balance range of temperature that you get. The colors are not true, they're not natural, and I can't fix them without doing a lot of work. Not a good selling point for a plug and play unit. In fact, there's only 3 color balance options that you can do on this camera. One goes way too high, one's in the middle, which is what you're looking at right now, which means it's not good for my skin tones because it adds too much purple or green, magenta, blue, orange, kind of weird look. And also the other one is way too cool. There is no in between, which means this sucks for this camera. You don't get enough control. And if you're probably wondering how I sound, this is how I sound on the P800 web camera. I don't sound great, but I never hold this against any web camera because web cameras are for visuals. They're not really for audio. But if you need this for like a Zoom or conference call, it's adequate. But for streaming and content creation, it's not. Now let's go back to my regular voice. So what are some good things about this camera? Well, to be honest, there isn't much, but there are 2 key things about this. This camera is really good if you want to push it in close to your face. It doesn't disorient the image at all, which is really good for the wide viewing angle that it gives you. So the closer and closer and closer that I get to the camera, there's not much disorientation on my face. Hey, the camera is only about 1.5 feet away from my face at the moment, which is nice if you need something that needs to be really close to you or your source. Number 2 is, this is probably one of the best things I can say about this camera, is the sensitivity of the sensor is immaculate. This camera works in such low lighting situations. I can't even explain how well it does. Let me just show you. I'm gonna turn off all my lights. There you go. Every single light is turned off except some accent light that's coming in from downstairs that's coming in through a window and the RGB lights behind me. And you can still see me. Now I can still make adjustments because this is at the lowest exposure. If I actually go to the camera and I play a little bit with the exposure and I go up a tick or 2, you can actually see me, which is impressive. I've got virtually no light on, which is if you're photosensitive or light sensitive to anything, this could actually be a good camera for you. The colors aren't gonna be as good, but hey, very easy on the eyes, which I have not seen on any web camera. Maybe that's because this comes from, you know, a dash cam company, so they have to work a lot with low light situations, but this is pretty impressive from what I can see. I actually really like this a lot and wish I saw more of this in some cameras. So what are my final thoughts on the P800? Well, I think it's an adequate camera if you're only gonna be using it for things like Zoom or Google Hangouts or teleconference calls. That's the only way I would even recommend it. At this price point, or even just a little bit up, there are so many better cameras that produce better visual quality and give you more control over the camera that I would recommend those way over the P800. In fact, I'm gonna put those cameras over here to the right-hand side. I recommend checking those out if you're into streaming and content creation, because those are way better for you. My name's Wild4Games, making sure you're bigger and better, and as always, take care, and of course, peace!